So, after I commented on one of the things that I had a black pillow in my lap, I wear all black. And so it was really not flattering. So he bought me a pink dragon so that at least it matched the aesthetic of our podcast.
Your chair.
And well, the whole thing, but because it's like literally the only pink item I own. I don't have anything else that's pink. So yeah,
technically you don't even have the chair that's pink. I know the chair is mine.
This is what I have. This is my ode to pink. I mean, even on the breast cancer survivor week thing, I just have to spray pink in my hair or something because I don't own anything pink.
Yeah.
Oh, I think might have once had a pink ribbon on one that had like the skull hands.
I think you borrowed a pink ribbon from me because I actually own pink.
Yes, you do. That could have happened. I know I sprayed my hair though. All right.
Well, welcome back to the Can You Say That podcast conversations I have with my mom. Now, the Favor Mafia has gotten larger. And so if you would like to be a part of the Favor Mafia, because that's how we keep the videos recording, you have to like, comment, subscribe. We're going to have a little bit of like a conversation we're going to have here in a minute that I desperately want people to keep going in the comments because it's going to be really funny. But do all of those things. You can be part of the Favor Mafia, and that means that she'll keep recording.
I love how somehow it's my fault if it doesn't. Yeah.
If you stop recording, it's the failure of the Favor. The failure of the Favor Mafia.
Wow, no pressure.
No pressure. But what are we talking about today? I'm really excited for this one.
Okay, so somebody sent me this, and it came from GD Penman, is who posted it out there on Twitter, and it says, October comes, everyone wants a big-titted goth girlfriend. Please don't adopt a goth only for Halloween. They require year-round enrichment, not 1 month of spooky movie marathons. Leave the care of these delicate and beautiful creatures in the hands of the expert keepers. So
I love that so much.
So that one person sent it to me, and I thought it was cute. I was like, oh, I love this. And then I got sent it by other people, or some version of it by other people. And I was like, well, okay. So that is kind of where then we started talking, and here's where we are. Don't adopt a goth for October.
No, we're not ducks. Like, you can't, or actually, to be fair, we're very similar to ducks where you can't just adopt us for one holiday and move on.
No, it's like the puppy thing, right? For Christmas.
Absolutely.
Then you said this is also huge across.
Yeah. So this is actually, this has been on the docket for about 6-ish weeks. Like, we've been wanting to do this one for a minute. And so what is really funny to me is, like, right now there's kind of like this trend happening on TikTok where it's all about these guys who have never had any interest in goth women before are now like, I could score me a goth. And I think that is hilarious for lots of reasons. But it is a lot of the time someone posted and pointed this out. Like, these are the same people who, when we were like this in like high school, made fun of us.
Yes.
So I love this because I didn't tell you that in our pre-production meeting, and you knew.
I did.
But there's something to that. And they also don't realize, like, because there's like the one image of a goth girl, like, like a vampire girl, Kate Beckinsale kind of goth girl is a huge one.
Okay, so to be fair, I wish I was a Kate Beckinsale goth girl.
Me too.
Hello. But no, it is. It's the Doc Marten boots and the fishnets and the super black eye makeup and the Yep, that's very much the typical goth.
The goth girl. And people don't realize there's like a level. And most goth girls don't look like that all the time. That's the other thing people don't realize. No. So you might wear like black like leggings and like a Hex Girl t-shirt, which is what because those are our 90s babies. Those are our original goth girls. But you don't look
Ours
like
are the Craft.
Yours are the 80s babies. Yours is the Craft.
Lydia Dietz, and aside from but of course all before that was the Morticia and Lily Munster and Wednesdays and all those. Yeah.
And so those ones though, people don't realize that goth girls don't look like that 24/7. We also just look like crop top and leggings. We also look like dark skull pajamas because we also have to exist in this world. We don't just like fold up into a coffin when we're not available.
So I think that it's important to know your level is sometimes associated with what you do in the outside world. If you're an artist, if you are somebody who works from home their whole time, if you're a programmer, you can do the full on, cat's eye, black eyeliner, black lipstick, all that stuff. In the everyday world, your husband is nodding like he wears black lipstick all the time as a programmer who stays at home. But
he would dig it.
But in my professional life, I have to do some version of that goth girl.
Right.
I can't do it full on. I can't, I wear black all the time. Somebody told me one day that for somebody who only wears two colors, black and white, that I'm very stylish. The way that I play up apparently my black, white, of course, I told them I do in fact wear gray and red. And of course, like we've talked about Bruce theory.
Yes, so. You wear all the colors associated with a healing Bruce.
Except the nasty old yellow.
But that is a huge thing that people don't realize. They also don't realize, like, you have to adjust your level of goth for the summer and the winter.
Okay, so we kind of talked about this because black leather leggings and all that makeup in 100 degrees, I've done it. You've done it.
Yep.
And although it's a really good look when you leave the house, eventually as you're sweating, that crop starts just coming off, and it doesn't come off in like little bits here and there. I mean, black eyeliner will melt like in a hot minute out in the heat. And so people have to think about and do you want, you have to be like, so I have to prep myself. What's the stuff you gave me? The setting spray, right?
So I introduced her to NYX's 16-hour setting spray in the middle of
That is amazing
June.
stuff. I can't even. July. It was July. It was 100 and something degrees, and it held my dragon makeup all day long. But anyway, but it's still, you're still the gothy person, right? So I am over there in my pale and tragic stuff, all white, and still wearing like a jacket, and so that I remain super pale. And I actually don't do it because I remain super pale. I do it because I burn all the time.
Yeah.
But that still is a maintenance thing all summer long. So it's not. And then come January, people will say, what, your girlfriend looks like she's sick. Nope, that's just her because she hasn't seen sun or anything. She's white as all get out all the time.
That's why I do say I love like the rockabilly style for that exact reason, is that it's a level of goth, easy. And it's a professional level of goth. Like you can get away with a lot in a rockabilly style, which obviously because that's what you do at work. Because you work in a really professional environment.
Yes.
I work from home. So I just look like this in some variation or like a matching tracksuit. And that's it.
So I get that. Sometimes I get I told you, I was told I reminded somebody of like a 1940s tattooed pinup girl, like the ones where they took the other pinup images and tattooed them on like Facebook and stuff. Somebody told me I look like that to them. So, and for those of you who hear the dog barking, I'm taking a bet that it's Amazon, but it could very well be, well, no, pretty much it's Amazon.
It's Amazon, and I know what it is because it's my birthday present.
Okay, so speaking of birthday presents, that's actually a good one. So we were talking about your finances. You brought that up.
Okay. So when we decided to do this topic, we prep a little bit in advance, right? So
but like yesterday, 5 minutes before.
So yesterday we kind of brought up, this is the one we were going to record today. So I looked at my husband because I said, you're married to a goth bitch. What are you going to do? Like, what would you say is part of the maintenance of your goth wife? And David stopped and went, oh my God, have a separate bank account for October for pumpkin spice lattes. Because I am on that chick. I love pumpkin spice lattes. I get 2 a week from October 1st, whenever they freaking release, all the way until they stop. So I get 2 a week for months. And so he's like, have a separate bank account for that. Have a separate bank account because all your birthday stuff needs to come out during that time. Christmas has to come out during that time. And honestly, home decor, this is a replacement item. This pillow is a replacement item for something that got ruined last year. And I had to wait an entire year for a replacement because they had already closed Spirit Halloween by the time this thing got ruined.
So I will throw something else out there. Somebody who has, my hair color naturally is probably just a little bit lighter than yours is in that right now. It is very expensive to maintain black hair all the time, especially when there's a lot of it and it's thick.
And it's damaging to your hair.
Right, because I have to do it all the time.
I have black hair for years
all
and I
the
can't do
hair
it anymore.
conditioner in the whole world. I have that. But I also have a bathroom that is never 100% back to white.
No.
My shower has black hair dye, sometimes red because I get fancy and put red underneath or purple or something like that. And so there's always this catch-22. Like we have my hair towels because the color bleeds through. So when my hair is wet, I'll have like this towel that looks like somebody's bleeding all over it because the red is bleeding out. So I keep all the other nice towels over here, but then there's my hair towels because those are the ones that are designed to absorb all that.
We've talked about this last year after after everything was done with my job and my wedding 2 years ago now. I was like, that's it. I'm dyeing my hair purple. And I use like Arctic Fox, which I would totally recommend because it's actually not bad for your hair. And they donate to Save the Animals every portion of what you purchase. But I dyed my hair purple. I had it purple for like 3 weeks. I'm actually going to go back and do like blue here soon because I love it.
That's funny because I'm about to put blue underneath mine.
And this is what I love. We had purple hair dye stained in our bathtub until David was nice enough to gift me a cleaning service. So he had a cleaning service come out and they scrubbed it out. It's been in the bathtub for 2 years. And that's just how our tub was because I had purple hair dye.
I told you, I have hair dye on the walls. We have to repaint the bathroom.
Yeah.
At one point, somebody who shall remain nameless dyed their hair red in our bathroom, in the main bathroom. And there's still remnants of red hair dye on pieces. So when I'm getting the bathroom redone, hopefully this winter, they'll finally be able to get rid of them and then nobody's allowed to dye their hair in that bathroom. We're going to have to stick
10 years. Let it go.
Yeah, but I still have it. It's my point, right? Those are all the things about adopting a goth girl you have to consider.
Yeah.
There's going to be permanent damage to your house for her to maintain all this crazy. Yes, there is.
And your house doesn't so everybody only sees like this portion of my background, right? Here's the thing. This is just what my house looks like in my office. This was already set up before we ever decided to do a podcast. My whole house looks like some variation of this.
Somebody thought when we first switched over to working from home and using our cameras for work, they thought that my backdrop was a green screen because my backdrop is a bookshelf and the Edgar Allan Poe wall in my house. So they thought it was just a green screen and they were like, oh, that's so you, kind of like that stupid TV commercial.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really my stuff. It's not just so me, you guys. That's actually my items. Like I own them. I've paid for them. They've been gifted to me.
We've gifted you stuff for that wall. Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, this is stuff. And as we joke around a lot is I'm super cheap, right? But that's where I'll spend my money. I dropped $50-something on a hand, remember charcoal and pencil drawing of Edgar Allan Poe.
You sure did.
With the Raven. That is not what I do. I do not just randomly drop money like that, but I had to have it. So now I have it.
I love that so much. That's why, by the way, my friends who are also other goths think you're so cool. I have a friend who is a guy goth, right? And he is obsessed with how you are and not with you, which is really funny. He's a married man. He's very happy.
I mean, that's part of a later conversation.
But he's just obsessed with the fact that you are like the Edgar Allan Poe mom. Like you have a tattoo of is it Annabelle Lee?
Annabelle Lee.
On your leg.
Not the entire poem.
Yeah.
I have a stanza. Yes.
You have and she loved with a love, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's your favorite.
And then I have a raven. On the other that surrounds it now because it matches your brother's tattoo.
Yes,
because I have a raven and the Gothic
this is genetic.
Frame.
In case you were curious, my brother is also some version of a guy goth, and we don't know how it happened, but we're just all here for it.
So one of the last things with that whole adopting a goth girl is that other people are usually still surprised. So everybody thinks it's super cute or super hot or whatever when they do when you have these little goth girlfriends who
in October
do some stuff. But when you find out that she's still wearing skull Christmas tree sweater that says Happy Holidays, or like one of the very first things I ever bought your child is a matching sweater vest with mine that has skulls on it. Right?
It's so
like the
cute.
First thing other people are like, that's what you chose to match your grandchild with. Oh yeah, sure did. And you know, I bought it before we knew if you were having a boy or a girl because I didn't care.
I do worry about the day I have a daughter. If I have another one, just because there's no way that girl's getting out. Not
God. You know what? She'll be the Maryland.
Or she'll be the Maryland.
Okay, so we have to clarify. Normally when we say that, we're talking about the Jackie of Maryland comparison. We're talking about Jackie Kennedy versus Marilyn Monroe. We're talking about Marilyn Munster.
Yes. Who is
the non-Gothic from the TV show.
I don't know if she's in the new one, but I haven't watched the new one yet, and I'm really excited to. But
I hope she's in the OG. She was an important part of the originals. But so I would say our last thing about you have to know if you're going to adopt a goth girl is that evolution concept, because I knew a person who was like, oh, this is just a phase. I cannot tell you. I'm sure my mother was told the all black and the pale and the tragic and all that. It was just a phase.
I'm sure your mother still wishes it was, but now you're 45.
Years old. No, because since we started this, I'm 46. I had a birthday since
You're right.
We
launched on your birthday.
But
not a phase, Mom.
No,
it's a lifestyle.
This is it. I mean, this is all I've got. I have dragons on I tattooed dragons on my body. We have skull decorations. I was so excited when we got the two dragon skull bookends by at different times.
I do remember that.
That's all us. Oops.
Well, and we gift you things like that. So because your birthday is at the beginning of September, people are just starting
the very touch on the holiday.
To very, just barely starting to release Halloween stuff. And we literally sit there and just wait for it to come out so that we can, my brother and I, just snatch presents as fast as humanly possible. There's been a lot of times where we've ordered your presents like September 2nd in hopes that it would get here in time.
So that's actually an interesting thing that we just talked about, because until probably 3 years ago, you had to wait for Spirit Halloween, or any of the other ones. So my significant other used to go, because normally I work the day after Halloween.
Yes.
Or if I didn't, I went too, but he would go and he would buy me socks and tights and eyeliner and everything that they had 50% off, because it was the only place that had it.
I literally take the 1st of November off to do that still.
We do, but you don't have to anymore, because Amazon, thank you, Amazon. Okay, so I realize a lot of people hate Jeff Bezos. I understand that their hatred for him, and that's their feelings. But I got to tell you, I love the fact that in the middle of July, I can go and buy
flame sunglasses,
fishnet stockings, or I have my my Batwing sunglasses, which have made such a big impact in the last like 2 weeks.
People love those things.
People stop and ask me about them and all this stuff, and I've had them for I don't know, 6 months. I've been wearing them, and nobody's talked to me about them nearly as much as this month. But everybody thinks I went and got them
for
today.
Halloween,
and no, I have had them for a long time. So that evolution, though, continues to happen.
Yeah, eventually your goth girlfriend can become your goth wife, as my poor husband had to find out this wasn't a phase. And then eventually you have to deal with the fact that that's now a goth mommy, because when I had my son, I didn't just stop being like this.
Right.
I just dressed my son to match, and now we do stuff where like I'll have my son wear like an all black onesie. Actually, you guys bought him this all black onesie and I love it. And we make the joke that it's like goth baby and goth mommy.
Yep.
Like my nightgowns have bats on them.
I have that. I have one like that too, actually.
It's just, that's not a phase, guys. This is just how it is all the time. Other thing that I think is really popular, it's really huge on TikTok. And I think it's like this common misconception. There's actually a creator that talks about this a lot. If I can remember who he is, I'll link him. But it's about sex drive and how goth chicks have more of a sex drive than normal chicks. And I have to say, I think that is a crock.
Yeah, I don't think it's true. I think it's the inhibitions.
I think inhibitions.
I think that part of the goth image is things that are considered inherently sexy.
Like corsets.
Fishnet stockings.
They are just, I think what's more accurate is that there's also a certain level of confidence that comes with being a goth chick. Like, you have to be good with who you are and what you look like if you're going out in July in a corset and fishnet stockings.
Okay, fair.
And that, I think, is what's actually attractive to people, and they don't realize that it's more them than the girl. Yeah.
I would argue that it has way less to do with what she looks like.
Yeah.
I say that because
goth girls come in all shapes and sizes.
Well, no, I don't even mean that. I mean, because for speaking from me personally, I am what I would consider averagely attractive. Most people do not notice one way or the other. I feel like I'm like middle of the road.
Okay, I obviously don't think that's true.
On a really good day, I think I could hit like an 8, but I think I pretty much maybe 8.5. I pretty much live at a 6.5, 7 every single day, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. That's not my point. Stop shaking your head. But then I've been told separate from that, it's not that. There is this other half, this other part that is like this. They associate with the goth girl is that overly sexual, sensual. All of that gets associated. I think that's part of it. Is there's an immediate association of sexy and sensual when you attach it to goths, and it's probably because of vampires.
I mean, honestly, I get it.
Nosferatu, but I said that way wrong. How do you say it?
Nosferatu.
Thank you. Not because of them, but like
but because Louis and Lestat
and what's the other one's name? The super famous one. Bella Lugosi.
Ugh.
So all of those are these super sexualized, attractive people, that play it are very sensual and sexual related. So I think that plus the sensuality of the clothing plus all that leads people to think that.
Now I am gonna say, if you are a goth girl with a high sex drive, I see you. Like more than you know.
If you're
I
not
see
a
you.
goth girl with a high sex drive, more power to you.
But there is something to that, is that there might be less about. I also think this is the other thing, that goth women are more likely to just outright, because I think but like I was saying, if you're a goth girl and you're just like this, I think it also has to do with the fact that personality type. Like this lifestyle attracts a certain personality type. And I do think it tends to be more blunt or maybe just more forward women. And I think that's the other thing is that goth girls tend to be a little bit more forward, a little bit more like, I would like to have sex now, versus a normal woman who may be like, I would like to have
non-goth, not a
a non-goth who's more like, I would like to have sex, so I'm going to wear this one nightgown that I think is really good, and then to see if he picks up on it. Whereas I do think goth women are just as a whole like, and now, right this second. And I think that's actually where that comes from as much as everything else. It's just more of a demand of time versus like, I'm going to wait for you to pick up signals. I think that's also what is super attractive to a lot of people is the whole, like, I don't know, you're not on TikTok, so you don't see this, but the whole like, please step on me thing. I have gotten that especially with the shoes I wear.
So, okay. Now remember, I did have that happen, and that happened.
You had that in real life.
Like a few months ago. Yes. And that's part of the thing I think that throws me off. That's where I was saying, okay, so stop shaking your head. But I don't think that I'm especially like we used to talk about you all the time where you were the girl that other people, when you walked in, other people, men and women, would take notice of how you looked all the time.
That worked out well for me in my young 20s.
And it still happens, but it is a little bit different because now it is a different kind of mentality because they made the switch in their head from who you were before to being the mommy now.
Very true.
But
until you're wearing leather pants in the middle, because this is an outfit I just wore like Friday. David and I went out on a date. Yeah. I wore an all black outfit with leather pants and silver heels, and it still happens. People are still like,
so when you're not used to that though, that comes as a surprise. So in my case, when it came out and it was actually, I was getting rid of something, and then the person started asking me if I would send pictures of the shoes that I was getting rid of. So I did. And then the person asked me to send pictures of what they look like being worn, and I was like, and we're done.
You can make a lot of money doing that.
That's what you keep telling me. And I have some really cute shoes because I like shoes a lot.
You really do.
So I keep thinking of that, but yeah, that's a separate side note.
She can make a lot of money doing this.
But actually, that's something that never, that's something that is like that kind of thing. Actually, yes, it really did happen.
I think that's hilarious.
And I think if you'd asked me, at 25, hey, do you think when you're 45 years old, you'll have people that'll do this? I'd have laughed in their face. I'd have been like, no.
Yeah, well.
But part of that, I think, goes back to what you're saying. I tried to be a different kind of person then because of the person that I was with.
Yeah.
I was much more traditional mommy, much more.
You didn't look like that. Like this is the last 10, 15 years.
Your father was not a fan of all the black and all the, like I didn't dye my hair black until 12 years ago for the first time because your father flipped out at the idea.
Yes.
He barely even liked me to dye it brown.
Yup.
So that's a change.
But it's really funny if you go back and look at pictures from when you were a teenager to now. It's the same chick. It is just more. This is obviously.
There's a break in the middle. There's when I was a teenager, and then there was obviously when I was with your dad, and then there's because with your dad it's all earth tones, and then back to all black as soon as I had, as soon
freedom.
As we separated. So I wanted to tell you the part of the reason this particular topic made me laugh the way that it did was because last night we're at a concert. And there was a lot of tragic events related as far as like they had power problems and sound problems and the concert ended early and we were bitter. And I got hit on standing there with my significant other,
my brother,
my 23-year-old son, and his friend,
right? Yeah.
And this guy came up trying to talk to me about lubricants.
Maybe the guy thought you were like a reverse harem and didn't necessarily realize. I
don't know, but that's not for future reference to the male population. Don't hit on somebody starting their conversation with lubricants.
Although lube is an important conversation topic for later.
That's not your opener, though.
No.
As a whole, asking me about my preferences of KY jelly, not the way you want to start this conversation.
Also, invest in better lubricant.
When I'm standing there with my significant other, that takes a lot of nerve. Now, to be fair, he was about 10 feet away from me because I'd gone back to wash my hands. Get the hand sanitizer, rather.
Right.
And so he was a little bit away. Maybe this person did not realize we were together. I don't know.
Which I think is really funny because obviously we don't post pictures of our family members. However, just like a little tidbit of information, my stepdad looks like a biker because he is one.
Yes.
My brother is like almost 6 foot and very, very wide. He looks kind of like a linebacker. I can't imagine anybody looking.
So to be fair, your brother looks like an Oklahoma corn-fed,
considering he was not.
Yeah.
So these are not small people that are standing next to you as this guy is hitting on you.
But, so that's actually something I was asked, right? Somebody had asked me before about that. The person said, you identify with Morticia Adams, and I said yes.
Obviously.
And they said, does your significant other? And when I told him that, he started laughing, and he goes, no, he looks way more like an extra from Sons of Anarchy.
He does.
And that is how I've
really
explained
does.
him to everybody from here forward. When everybody's like, are you all gothy? Is he all gothy? Now, he likes all the skulls and all that crap. But when you ask if you were to pick me and drop me into a TV show, it tends to be Beetlejuice, The Munsters, Addams Family. Him, 100%.
Sons of Anarchy. 100%. That's what he looks like.
Right. So now, though, the reason we were discussing the fact that about this whole opening line is that I had come up with this theory probably now 3 years ago. I brought it to you and I said, this is what I think. We were actually at a play.
Oh, you're right.
When I had this epiphany driving to that play, it was actually, of course, a murder themed play because that's who we are.
Because we've met.
And I told you when we were in the play, I was like, so I have decided this is what it is. And this is that theory. That there is I call it the douchebag scavenger hunt list.
You too.
And what it is a list. I have a theory that there are douchebags in the world that have a list of the type of girl they must sleep with every single month in order to complete their champion douchebaggery list. And I think October is sleep with a witch.
I think you're right.
I think it's have sex with a witch.
I think you're absolutely correct.
And the reason I brought you that originally when I discussed it with you is I asked you, on a random other note, do you get hit on more around autumn than any other time of year? And you were like, I've never really thought about it. And I said, so this is why it came up. Somebody was hitting on me. It was obvious. I got hit on twice in one day.
Which you feel is unusual for you.
Which is unusual for me.
Right.
I got hit on in a very specific way. And I got hit on a whole bunch that month. We had gone to Salem for your birthday in October, and you were cracking up. You were I was like, well, holy shit, I'm way more attractive on the East Coast because we got hit on walking into the hotel.
I remember that so vividly, and
the guy wouldn't let me park because he was too busy staring at us and trying to talk to me. That I was like, could you move?
I will never forget going. We went to Salem for my 21st birthday because where else do you take a witch? But one of the things that I loved about that I thought was so funny is the guy forgot he was working.
Yes,
he straight up forgot he had a job. He was just like,
yeah, it was. We walked in. And he looked at us up and down and was like, how are you doing? And it wasn't in the Joey way.
No, but it was definitely.
It was. And what are you guys up to? And then he was like, I am so sorry. And then he stopped and was like, how do I help you? Are you, and he was very nice and very professional, but it was like a switch went off in his head.
He forgot he was at work. It was amazing.
And then we were trying to park. And you have to parallel park on the East Coast, which is hell, and I'm not good at it. So, and I'm in a rental.
I was
trying to park, and there's this person who's talking to me, and you're like, "Oh my god!" And you actually got mad, and you asked him, "Can you let her park, and then you could try to hit on her?" But could you let her? Could we park first? Because she has to concentrate on this.
I am not a subtle person, even on a good day.
Yelled it out the window.
Well, and at that point, we had flown across the country.
One was stop staring at my mom.
That one was just creepy. That's not my fault. The dude was just weird at that point. That one was not my fault. I maintain that.
But that's where I came up with this. So those kind of things collectively always seem to happen in October, which is where my theory comes from, that it must be in October. The douchebag list must say sleep with a witch. It has to, because there's no other way that makes sense.
Well, and I'll be honest, that's when I started thinking about it after we had that conversation. And I do get hit on more in October. I always just thought it's because I am at my peak hotness in October.
And maybe so. Maybe it's because you are more comfortable. It's not hot as hell. It's not, we're not sweating like crazy, and you like what you can wear, and you don't feel as, wearing the layers. Because even when you're gothy, wearing the corset and all that crap is still hot.
It's hot.
Maybe you do feel better about it. Maybe. But that is my theory. Because come October, I'm like, oh my God, for real? Are you hitting on me right now?
Could you leave me? Because let me just say, I don't go anywhere now without my husband. Pretty much consistently, because there came a point where I would go out in October and people were not normally hitting on you like in a normal
No, they say
fashion.
things like they want to know what kind of lubricant is your favorite.
They really say wildin' things. Like I had a guy a couple of years ago. I wear fishnet stockings in the winter and in the fall especially. So I recently had to reorder though because mine are damaged beyond repair. And so I was sitting there. It was probably 2 years ago now because I think it was just after we moved back into town. And this guy was like, I would love to rip those off you. And I was like, I'm married. Because I had seriously gotten married like 2 weeks prior. And I was like, I'm straight up married.
Actually, you weren't married yet.
I wasn't. Do you remember this?
I remember the story, but you got married on Halloween, and this was still before Halloween.
Oh, you're right.
So you may have said you were married, but you actually were not.
But I said something like, yeah, I'm married. That's weird. And then I was more annoyed because he was like, well, he made that joke. I've seen it on Facebook a lot where it's like, I have a goldfish. I thought we were talking about things that don't matter. And I hate that. First off, that's a terrible line. Second, my husband will deck you.
Telling me that my husband doesn't matter, not the way to hit on me either. Right up there with the KY jelly comment.
Oh
These are not how you open up to talk to me.
But he said something like that, and then I got annoyed. I finally, like, he was weird. Like, he was a very normal looking person, but he got more aggressively weird as the conversation went on. And finally, at one point, I remember leading in and being like, I will tase you right here, right now, if you don't back the fuck off. And dude was like, he made a face that
like he was surprised.
Like he was surprised and also a little into it. And I was like, I swear to God, I will drop kick you right here. But it get progressively weirder the closer to Halloween it gets. It doesn't just, it starts normal and then it gets weirder closer to Halloween.
I think with Halloween and all that, that's related to the costumes, right? So especially now, thank you, we joke around about it, but when you talk about practical magic, you know, the costumes that they're wearing, I want that dress one day because it's
green
amazing.
Velvet dress, Jelly Bean's green velvet dress. I would kill for that.
But it's absolutely, I just want the apothecary they have in the house.
I mean, that too. We just want to be Sally and Chili, really.
But that's where I think you get that kind of image of all of that, of all of those people.
I'm sure.
Right? All the sexuality, all the everything. So I really feel like there's this magical list. So that got me thinking.
Right, because you have a theory on more months.
I do. So I started thinking about other months. So one of them, based on now, admittedly, this is all based on personal experience.
Right.
One of the other months was May, and somebody else actually brought this to my attention, and then I had pieces that fell in, and that was that I think the douchebag list for May, thanks to Mother's Day, is like try to sleep with a girl and her mother, because we went. It's happened twice. We went once to it was
happened more than that.
No, I mean two that were blatant. One was at a hardware store.
Yes.
And it
with
was
my
in May,
dad standing right there, and I was a high schooler.
Yeah, and then one was in a Gothic store. Honestly,
oh yeah,
and the one in the Gothic store, the person hit on me, and you actually stepped up and you were like, "Don't hit on my mom. That's creepy."
This was post your divorce, or in middle of divorce, or something like that, and you had already met my stepdad.
Yes. And so we call it, you know, you gird at him where you were like, oh my God, don't hit on my mom. And you like growled at him. And then he turned around and went, well, what about your number? And you were like, are you fucking kidding? You just hit on my mom.
I remember that so vividly because I remember also, because these both happened, like I wasn't 18 yet.
No.
For either one of those.
Right.
So first off, weird. Second off, really freaking weird. Like, I couldn't believe the nerve, and I get that that's like a thing. Guys have like, not all guys, but some guys have a fantasy.
They think it's a fantasy, yes.
But also, me and my mom are close. We ain't that close. No. That's weird.
Right.
Also, no one wants to acknowledge this. That's incest. Everybody wants to talk about how it's funny and like it would be cool.
It's the whole porn image, right?
But it's actually like against the law.
No, it's actually very unhealthy, yeah.
But that is, you're right. It's happened twice. Both times you're right. I shut it down because I was like, I ain't doing this. This is just an awkward conversation.
So no, if you remember the second time, actually, my significant other shut it down.
Oh yeah, because we were
at the
hardware store getting a grill for my graduation, for my high school graduation,
right. And it was him who shut it down
because that's weird. But you have theories on other months, like lots of other.
Well, I have this theory, so I think that
you've been building this for a while.
I have. So my theory is that there's this whole convention of like douchebags that come together and they make a list of every single month. But I can't. So like one of them is July, right? Is in Utah. There's a huge second patriotic day after 4th of July. Obviously, 4th of July is very patriotic. So I think it's a soldier, a military member. I think it's something like that. I think that this douchebag scavenger hunt list has that it has to be a woman who's active duty or has served in the military.
I agree with you.
I think that that's July's.
I think you're right.
I think that in
March,
March, yeah, St. Patrick's Day, you got to find a chick of Irish descent who can drink whiskey.
Right.
Now, granted, we tend to come out as a chick who's Irish descent and who drinks whiskey. We come out in hordes on.
We really do on St. Patrick's
Day. That being said, so we unfortunately make a target-rich environment, because we're dumb.
We really,
but it's true. But that's my theory for March, and then September, I think, is teachers. So that is where
we actually have a disagreement on this.
Yeah, but thanks to Van Halen and Hot for Teacher, and thanks to the porn industry who's dedicated a whole thing about, sleeping with a teacher and
yes,
all of that stuff. I think that the douchebag theory is that on September is teacher related.
So you think that, but we've talked about this. I think it has to do with your age bracket because I actually think September is a sorority girl. But that has to do with the fact that I'm just now coming out of that age bracket in the last few years where you still go to college.
One or the other. Like if it's a choice.
Oh, maybe.
I wonder if there's 2 points for one. I really think I do.
You've been building this theory for a really long time. Worst case, though, we're actually building this list for somebody, which I hope is not how people are taking it.
But we kind of talked about that before about some of the other months because some of the months I can't figure out. So what's January is somebody who's unemotional
like
and cold.
Yeah.
That's got to be January's, but I'm just guessing. I don't know about the other months.
So I think I know February's. I've thought about it. And since we started talking about this, I think it's get somebody on Single Girl Day, which is February 13th.
Oh, Singles Awareness Day?
Yeah. Whatever that is. I think it's getting somebody that day, getting a single person that day.
I would say, now that you say that, or you stake out the stores that are having a 50% off chocolate on the 15th.
On the 15th and snatch a girl there.
Snatch a girl there. I think that might be part of it too.
I don't love that, but I think you're right.
Yeah, but that's why it's the douchebag scavenger hunt. That's really my theory.
There's a bunch of I
can't think of anything yet for April.
So I had my idea for April related to Easter.
I disagree with you though, because
so I thought April would be do it like rabbits. Because I thought that was hilarious.
But I don't think, that would be that would be almost like a couples list.
It kind of would be.
That would not be a douchebaggery list. The douchebaggery list has to have some other thing on it.
Maybe have someone dress up like a bunny.
I don't know. I don't know. So June, I'm a little bit lost on. I don't know what that is either. Maybe a beach girl.
Maybe, or do it at the lake. Something, do it at the beach.
You're thinking in terms of couples.
I've been one for a while.
Yeah, you're making a couples list. Think about if you were a total douchebag. You're just trying to sleep with somebody and leave them. So, right? Maybe it's a girl who's at the beach.
Pick someone up at the beach or something like that. But this has been.
I'm not sure. We kind of talked. I haven't really talked August. I don't know. There's months I'm missing. And there's months we don't agree on.
So comment. I want people to comment below because I want to see what people think.
We are trying to build this list.
A little bit. We're trying to, if you are a former douchebag who has now gone through recovery for your douchebaggery, provide us the list because we got to know.
Yeah, no, so you don't even have to be a former douchebag. You could be a current one.
You're willing to provide the list.
As long as you'll provide the list. I need to see the rest of the list.
Because it is weird.
And I need somebody to validate that what I'm saying is correct. Because it cannot be a fluke that what I get hit on and for how I get hit on, and it might be all the things we said, the confidence and the sexuality and the sensualness and all of those things. Maybe that really is it. But I don't think so. I think they're
there's a list.
Yeah, they're trying to check it off a list.
I think what is really, really weird about this in particular is that the fact that we live in a relatively conservative state.
We do.
So to have this much happening, that's part of why the numbers are skewed for us, right? Is because we're looking at it and we have to know there's only a certain amount of witches here, right? There's a small collective.
And that's a good point. So, maybe because our pool is so small, we get hit on so much more.
That's what I'm thinking.
That could be.
Either it's that or they're trying to adopt a goth girlfriend for just Halloween and you can't do that.
No, and we're not neither one. They don't seem to mind the availability, so I don't think they're trying to permanently adopt a goth girlfriend.
No,
I think
maybe it's just maybe ride the ride one time kind of deal.
Well, and I've told you I have a theory that's part of the people who hit on me.
Right.
Tends to be people who got married very young and are maybe looking because they think it's a different kind of adventure. I have no idea.
We've even talked about this in some other ones, is that before I got married and before I was in my long-term relationship with my husband, is that there used to be of a specific religious group. They would come at
after post-divorce.
Post-divorce and pre-marriage to their atypical or their typical girl.
Yep.
The girl that is the like gonna marry that girl.
The traditionalist. Yeah.
All of those things. There was always that guy who was like, I just want to ride this ride and then I'm gonna go get married and live my boring life. But I need to ride this ride.
To say I was with a goth girl once. Maybe.
Right. I swear that's part of it.
Maybe there's some, and you know what? More power to you as long as everybody understands that. But when don't hit on a goth girl in October just to do it. I mean,
no, we require so much care year round, so many pumpkin spice lattes, so much black eyeliner.
Not all of us have that pumpkin spice latte, but I can tell you that, I'm not a huge fan of flowers because I think they're a waste of money. They die.
You do.
So like my significant other's like, look, I bought you black nail polish. That is part of his love language is black nail polish, purple nail polish. I found eyeliner on sale. This is the version of I love you in my house.
Well, and like in ours, because I'm a different level, right? I'm not nearly as gothic as you are, but I way love my witchy stuff. A lot of my witchy stuff is like house decorations, or I have a massive collection of goth mugs.
Yes.
Like, actually, this one, my Nana bought me for my birthday last year. And so I have these are the things that I have. David buys me these things for Christmas and my birthday because he's like, I'm just going to clean out Spirit Halloween on November 1st.
But that's big, right? That's a huge thing is because that's an acceptance thing.
Yeah.
But I think that more than all of that stuff aside, I think at the end of all this, because we're coming up, we need two things from everybody, right? We need to remind them that goth girl adoptions are not temporary. No. You got to take it. You're in for the long haul, man, and we're expensive.
I've also never met a goth girl who isn't a monogamous goth girl. That's the other thing. I haven't.
But not, but openly so.
Yes.
And then the other thing we need the other months. We are missing the months.
Douchebags, comment below.
Even you know what though? I thought about it. What if you're not a douchebag? Because maybe they don't realize that it's the witch thing for us. Maybe women need to also tell us, hey, when do you get hit? Like nurses, when do nurses get hit on all the time?
When's Nurse Appreciation
There has to be a Nurse Appreciation Day, and nurses have to get hit on things.
Absolutely.
There has to be some theory. There has to be some first responders or cops or something like that. So based on your own life, when do you get hit on, and when do you think it's part of this whole douchebag checklist?
When is it the most for you? Because I gotta know. Because no, it's true though. And I have to say, this goes a different way as well. We speak from a woman's point of view because we're women. But I have a friend who's a guy who has this stuff happen to him. And he gets hit on very specific times of the year too. And so I gotta know also, if you're a dude, comment, when do you get hit on? When's the women? What's the equivalent?
Do you hit on women?
Yeah. What's the women equivalent to douchebags?
We need all the sides. We need when men get hit on. We need when women get hit on. Do you think it's tied to your job? Where does it come from? Are you more likely to hit on somebody during a specific time because that's when you go meet like all the teachers or whatever?
Maybe that's it too. I
have to know the answer to this.
We got to see because I got questions. So yeah, what's your takeaway?
And we will definitely have a follow-up if we get enough of responses to where we have like a whole list.
We will remake this list in a couple of months.
We'll build a list and be like, this is what we think is the year list. So we definitely need help though.
When you're looking at it though, like overall, obviously you want your big takeaway is please comment because that is what you want more than anything is to be validated. The rest of the
information. I don't like not knowing something like this. It bothers me because I feel like I'm onto something. And I have to know if other people have this experience.
I recently said to someone that because your mythical creature is dragons.
It is.
I recently said to someone that instead of silver, you hoard knowledge. And I feel like that is very, very true, especially when it comes to things that you can't get a straight answer on.
I definitely feel like I have a need to know these things. And and let's be honest, this is not life altering. It's not something I have to know.
You gotta know.
To know who I am as a person or as being a significant other or a mom or any of those things. But I have to know because I don't know. And that's what I'm telling you.
It's like when you see a actor in a specific show and you're like, I know who that actor is. What else?
I've seen him before. I gotta find out. Yes, that's
very
exactly
similar.
What it is. I have to know these things. And so I need somebody to help educate me. And by the way, I did
offer I'm gonna just clarify because you said that the way you did. Do not hit on my mom in the comment section, okay? I will have a full heart attack. My husband's laughing because he knows it's coming. He got hit on in his videos recently.
Laughing. Oh wait, yes, he did, and he didn't know it. Or he's laughing because it is such a far-fetched idea. Because
to hit on my mom,
I'm his child's grandmama. I'm not. So this is not the same. It's just not.
My big takeaway for all of this is obviously yours is, get the knowledge because that's who you are.
Somebody needs to tell me. I need to know. Does anybody else feel like they're on a scavenger hunt list, that you get hit on way more at that time? I have to know.
And then my big takeaway is honestly, remember that as much as like people try to fetishize things like goth girlfriends and like witchy girlfriends and stuff like that, we're also just like normal humans who have to go to work, who need to eat. Like, don't forget that in your like drive to get a goth chick. Like, I'm a human.
Do you know what I've noticed about these podcasts as we've been going through them? Is that towards the end of them, you try to do this very intellectual, emotional connection, wrap up, kind of like bigger picture.
I do.
Why we talked about this and how it affects all these people globally or whatever it is. You have this very, this is, get help or do this or don't do this way or whatever. And I am like we have a very different approach to this because I'm just like, I got to get my sarcastic comment out or I'm going to die. And you're like trying to give this sweet and loving wrap up. And I'm like, sarcasm.
I don't think you're wrong. And I think it's hilarious because it's true.
The more I'm seeing that happen. So that's who we are. So you at least try to be sweet and wrap it up and make people feel good about it when they're done. And I'm like, pithy little snotty comment. I got to spit it out. Yeah.
Or you're going to die. It's true though, because I feel like, ironically, I feel that same way, but I feel that way like I should because that's just, I'm a more emotional person than you are just in general. And B, because someone's got to balance out your snotty, pithy comment. And if it's not going to be me, then no one's ever going to do it.
True.
But thank you so much for, sitting around with us and listening to this. Comment below if you have the list, because good Lord, she's going to die if you don't. Comment, subscribe subscribe. And if you guys give us enough information, we will in fact make another episode about the list, because now I feel like I need to know. Now I feel like it's an obsession. Perfect. Well, thanks so much for watching with us. You guys have a great day and we'll be back next Wednesday. Bye.